Hey guys, and welcome back to another challenge video. Now this challenge video was a long time in the making. It was recommended about 3 months ago. Their comment asked if I could beat a Pokemon game with only Machop. Now a Machop only run sounds pretty easy on paper, and it probably would be if I ran it with normal challenge rules, but I wanted to add my own little spice to it to make it a little bit more difficult. So let's get into the rules, shall we? Rule number 1. I can only use Machop to do damage in battle. Rule number 2. I will not be allowed to use items in battle, excluding held items, which will be allowed. Next up is rule number 3. I will not be able to use any TMs or HMs on Machop during this run. Rule number 4. No glitches or exploits will be allowed during the run except to make Machop my starter. And finally is rule number 5. I am allowed to use HM slaves. Now you're probably wondering what makes this challenge even slightly difficult, and that is rule number 3. I cannot teach Machop any TMs or HMs, and if you don't know, in Gen 2, Machop only learns fighting type moves, which means, you guessed it, I'm not going to be able to hit ghost types. Unfortunately, ghost type Pokemon in this game are very prominent and also very broken. You'll find out why later on. Fortunately though, there is one saving grace for Machop. He learns Foresight. If you don't know what Foresight does, it allows fighting type moves and normal type moves to hit ghost types. Now Foresight won't make this challenge much easier, but it will make it possible. So without further ado, let's get into the challenge and see if I can do it. Now this Pokemon game starts off like every other Pokemon game by getting way too personal and asking about my gender. Now this choice doesn't really matter, but I chose boy because I always do. Now honestly, you guys know the drill by now. I name myself dead because at this point I am dead inside. Now as for the starter, you guys know which Pokemon I chose, but for the name I decided to name it after the guy that left the comment, Chrisman, so the Machop will be called Chris. Shortly after receiving Chris, it's time for my first rival battle. Now to start off the battle, my rival sends out his Chikorita. Now obviously this battle isn't too difficult. I hit it with low kick, it flinches, I hit it with low kick again, and I take out Chikorita. Probably the simplest battle ever. Now when I get back to the professor's lab, I am instantly interrogated by the police and they ask my rival's name. I choose not Gary because he's never as good as Gary. A short while after that, I arrive in Violet City. After clearing out Bellsprout Tower, it's time for the first gym. To start off the battle, Faulkner sends out his Pidgey. I start off with Focus Energy and end up taking it out in only one low kick. Next up, Faulkner sends out his Pidgeotto, which starts off by using Gust, which does a decent chunk of my health, and I thought this was the end of the battle honestly because it did a lot of damage. But luckily I hit a high roll low kick, taking it out in only 2 shots. After absolutely kicking the shit out of all of Faulkner's Pokemon, we have officially beaten the first gym. Shortly after leaving Violet City, I arrive at Union Cave. After journeying through Union Cave, I arrive in Azalea Town. After completely wiping the floor with Team Rocket inside of Slowpoke Well, it's time for us to battle Bugsy, the second gym leader. To start off the battle, Bugsy sends out his Metapod, which is pretty tanky but can't really do anything to me. It takes about 6 attacks to take it out. Next up he sends out his Kakuna, which is also pretty tanky but only takes about 4 attacks to take out. Lastly he sends out his Scyther, and if you guys watch my Happiny only run, you know how much I hated this Pokemon in that run. Fortunately for me, he's not as strong as he is in that run, and he doesn't use U-turn in this game. Fortunately, I'm able to take Scyther out in only a few hits before he can build up his Fury Cutter, winning the second gym battle against Bugsy. Shortly after defeating the second gym, it's time for the second battle with my rival. Now my rival at this point has a Ghost type Pokemon, which means I'm going to have to use Foresight against it. Luckily for me though, his Ghastly hasn't got the move that will be my Bane later on. You'll find out what move that is. Now after his Ghastly's down, there's really no worries about his other Pokemon. His Bayleaf goes down in like 2 or 3 shots, and his Zubat about the same, making this battle pretty easy after I get rid of the Ghastly. Shortly after collecting Cut from 2 strangers in a forest, I arrive in Goldenrod City. First up, Whitney sends out her Clefairy, which I one-shot with low kick. Next up is the Pokemon that most people are scared of when they go up against this gym because it's so fucking tanky, Miltank. Now this battle against Miltank is a little bit annoying because it keeps healing with Milk Drink, and it takes a few low kicks to take it out, but I do eventually take it out with low kick. And with Miltank taken down, I have defeated the third gym. Shortly after defeating Whitney, I arrive in Ecruteak City. After easily defeating my rival in Scorched Tower, it's time for the 4th gym battle, and this is where I hit my first roadblock. Now the 4th gym in this game, if you guys don't know, is a Ghost type gym. Now that wouldn't be so bad considering their level, but the first 2 of his Pokemon have a move that fucks me over, and is the real reason this challenge is so hard. Curse. Curse is so bad in this generation that it makes this gym almost impossible for me. It took me so long to defeat this gym, like longer than it's taken me to defeat any other gyms in any of my other challenge videos. So to save time, because I don't want this video being like 25 minutes long, I'm going to cut to the run where I beat it. Now the run where I finally beat this gym, I was level 60. Even at level 60, this gym is super hard to beat. It takes a lot of luck. I have to get past his first two Pokemon without getting cursed and taking very minimal damage, so his last two Pokemon can't take me out. During this run I got super lucky, and his Ghastly only used Spite, which got the PP of my Foresight, and then next up was his Haunter, which only used Hypnosis, which missed, luckily. Which means out of complete skill and no luck involved, I get up to his third Pokemon with almost full health. I managed to take out Gengar in one shot with Cross Chop. Now to start the battle off against his Haunter, I use Foresight, and for some dumb reason, his Haunter decides to use Mean Look instead of actually attacking me. Because of this genius decision by the AI of this game to not attack me, I get an opening to use Cross Chop, taking Haunter out in one shot, winning the battle and defeating Morty, finally. After defeating Morty, it's time to head to Olivine City. Unfortunately, we can't beat the gym here yet because we have to go get medicine from Cyanwood City. After retrieving the secret potion, I wonder what's so secret about it, I decide that it's time to fight the 5th gym leader, Chuck, the fighting type gym leader. For some reason, Chuck thinks it's appropriate to show off how strong he is to an 11-year-old boy. Kinda weird. After realizing that Chuck isn't wearing a shirt and feeling really uncomfortable about it, it's time to begin the battle. To start off this increasingly awkward battle, Chuck sends out his Primeape. And after looking at him move for about 3 seconds and realizing it had no PP, I still clicked on it. Because I'm stupid.
What are you?
An idiot sandwich.
Idiot sandwich what?
An idiot sandwich, Chef Ramsay.
After choosing a move that actually had PP, I hit Primeape with a Vital Throw, taking it out in one shot. Next up, Chuck sent out his strongest Pokemon, Poliwrath. Now when he sent out Poliwrath, I was hoping for a really interesting battle. Well, it wasn't. He tried to use Dynamic Punch twice and missed, and I took him out with 2 Vital Throws. Oh my god, this Poliwrath was useless. After realizing Chuck's Pokemon was super weak and having the most disappointing Pokemon battle of my life, I realized that Chuck must be overcompensating for something. After defeating Chuck, I spent several minutes contemplating how I meant to fly on a Spearow. I somehow managed to make it back to Jasmine to give her the secret potion so they can finally verse the 6th gym. Now to start the battle off against Jasmine, she sends out her Magnemite. Unfortunately, her Magnemite is taken down brutally with only one Cross Chop. Next up was her Steelix, and I was almost certain I wouldn't take this out in one shot because Steelix is a very tanky Pokemon.
You underestimate my power!
Well, wasn't that surprising? After somehow one-shotting Steelix, Jasmine sends out her second Magnemite, and I'm guessing you guys can tell me how this battle went. Guess what? I hit it once with Cross Chop, taking it out, and that won me the battle. Once again, shortly after defeating the 6th gym, I head to Mahogany Town.
Meanwhile,
At the Lake of Rage, I find a freak of nature that I have to kill. Take a look at this absolute monstrosity. Why the hell is it bloody red?
Holy Jesus. What is that? What the fuck is that?
Don't worry guys, I quickly dispatch of this absolute monster and only 2 Cross Chops. After defeating the absolute monster, I run into a guy who's definitely not going to be important to the story later. Now, if you're wondering what happened to the 7th gym leader, it was an absolute slaughter, so I'm not going to show it on camera. Nah, in all seriousness, so this battle was just so easy, I don't think it's right to waste your time with it. Like, it literally was so simple. I didn't even heal before this battle and I won, without taking any damage, so yeah. Now, I want to explain something to you guys. If you guys are wondering why I haven't shown any Team Rocket stuff up to this point, it's mostly because it's all easy battles and they're way underleveled for the fights that I'm in, even if it wasn't like grinded up to like level 60 or whatever. So yeah, that's why I haven't shown them. But right now I'm about to show you the last executive in the entire game for Team Rocket, so enjoy. Now to start off this battle against his Team Rocket executive, he sends out Houndour. Now unsurprisingly, Houndour is not that hard to beat considering it's half dark type, so I take it out pretty easily with only 1 Vital Throw. Next up, the executive sends out Coughing, which should be a Wheezing at this point considering Coughing evolves to level 35. Stupid decisions aside, his Coughing is an absolute joke and I take it out in 1 Cross Chop and 1 Vital Throw. Last but not least, he sends out his Houndoom, which is his strongest Pokemon. Now this is the only Pokemon that did damage to me, mostly because I missed my first attack and it outspeeds me. That aside though, I managed to take it out with my second Vital Throw, winning the battle. After defeating Team Rocket for the last time, here's some footage of me trying to catch Suicune. Now I thought I'd take this time in the video to remind you guys, if you made it this far in the video and you're enjoying it, please leave a like on it and subscribe trying to hit 100 subscribers before Christmas time, and I'd really appreciate your subscription. Also, if you have any ideas for any other challenge videos you'd like to see me do on the channel, please leave them in the comments below, because I am dumb and unoriginal and can't think of my own ideas. If you want evidence of my unoriginality, just watch this clip of me naming my Suicune. I name it Crystal, after the game that it comes from. I'm super original, guys, I promise. A short while after catching Suicune, I arrive in Blackthorn City. That means it's finally time for us to battle the 8th gym leader, Claire. To start off the battle, Claire sends out her first Dragonair, which I take out in only one cross chop pretty easily. Her second Dragonair also goes down to one cross chop. Next she sends out her third Dragonair, which I try to use cross chop on but miss, and then uses Thunder Wave to paralyze me. But fortunately enough, my next one still hits it, taking it out. Last up is Kingdra, and even though I'm paralyzed, I managed to break through twice in a row, hit it with 2 vital throws and take it out, winning the battle and defeating the last gym. Now after defeating the gym, they refused to give me the badge, so I have to take a little test. Unfortunately, they didn't give me time to study, so I have to cheat. After briefly looking up a YouTube tutorial, I get every answer right and I pass the quiz. Yeah, and unsurprisingly, the 8th gym leader acts like a little brat, because I passed the test when she couldn't. Briefly after skipping Victory Road because nothing eventful happened, I arrive at the Pokemon League. Well, I guess it's time for the Elite Four. Well, not quite. I have to explain something to you for a second. So, I tried the Elite Four. Tried the first member. Couldn't beat his first Pokemon, even at like level 95. So instead of leveling up like a lot and ruining the run for the video, I decided that it was time to give up on no TMs and use a TM. Now, I wasn't going to use any overpowered TMs or anything. I just taught him Thief, so he was able to do damage to the psychic types, because my fighting type moves are doing absolutely nothing. Now that's out of the road, let's see how my first attempt goes when using Thief against the first Elite Four member. Unfortunately, even with Thief, I still had to be level 85 to even put a dent in his team. This is the run where I finally beat the first Elite Four member. Start off the battle, Will sends out his Zartu, which goes down to 2 Thiefs, and then he sends out his Jinx, which goes down to 1 cross chop. His Executor also goes down to 2 Thiefs. Unfortunately, his Slowbro takes 3 Thiefs to take out. Last but not least, Will sends out his final strongest Zartu. This Zartu takes 2 Thiefs to take out as well, winning me the battle and defeating the first Elite Four member. Now that we've defeated Will, it's time for the second Elite Four member, Koga. To start off the battle, Koga sends out Ariados. I start off the battle against Ariados by hitting it with a cross chop that does just over half of its health. Unfortunately, I missed twice, and then it gets a chance to heal up twice with Giga Drain, but then I end up taking it out with 2 vital throws. Next up, Koga sends out his Venomoth, which manages to hit me twice with Psychic before I manage to take it out with 3 vital throws. Next up, he sends out his Crobat. Unfortunately, I was unable to take this out. I hit it for like 4 vital throws before it eventually took me out with 2 wing attacks. I guess I have to level up a little bit more. After grinding up to level 90 and about a dozen resets, I eventually get past Crobat and get up to his Fortress. Because Fortress is a Steel type, it goes down in one shot to cross chop. Now his Muck tries to be sneaky and use Minimize to make me miss, but fortunately I have Vital Throw which always hits, and I hit it twice in a row, taking out Muck and winning the battle and defeating the second Elite Four member. Next up is the third Elite Four member, and for some reason by far the easiest, Bruno. To start off the battle, Bruno sends out his Hitmontop. Now here I make a stupid mistake and use Vital Throw, which means it gets an attack off. It uses Dig, so my Vital Throw misses. And because I'm an idiot, I also use Cross Chop on the next turn, which misses again because it's still underground. But fortunately my next Cross Chop does take it out. Next up, Bruno sends out his Hitmonlee, and I don't make the same mistake again, I go instantly for Cross Chop, taking it out in one shot. Next up, Bruno sends out his Hitmonchan, which also goes down in one Cross Chop. Next up, Bruno sends out Machop, my big bro Pokemon. He goes for Cross Chop and misses, and I take him out with 1 Vital Throw. Last but not least, Bruno sends out his Ornix, which is slightly tanky, but I'm pretty sure I could take it out in one shot, and I do with Vital Throw, finishing the battle and defeating the third Elite Four member. That means it's time for the final Elite Four member, Karen. Now to start off the battle, Karen sends out her Umbreon, which is pretty weak because I take it out in one shot with Vital Throw. Next up, Karen sends out her Vileplume, which unfortunately on its first turn uses Stun Spore. I still managed to hit it twice with Vital Throw, taking it out, but that Stun Spore will affect me later on in the battle. Now this is the Pokemon I was most scared of in the entire Elite Four, Gengar. And my worst nightmare was realized when it uses Curse on the first turn, and my Paralyze really affects me and I miss like a bunch of turns, and then Curse eventually takes me out. So I guess it's time to try again. Now after about 30 resets, I managed to get a run where I don't take any damage before I get to Gengar. Gengar uses Spite twice in a row for some unknown reason, so I get 1 free shot on it and I manage to take it out. After Gengar, she sends out Murkrow, which goes down to 1 Cross Chop. Last but not least, Karen sends out her Houndoom, which unfortunately also goes down to 1 cross chop, winning me the battle and defeating the final member of the Elite Four. And now that the Elite Four has been defeated, it's time for us to verse the champion, Lance. Lance's first Pokemon, Gyarados, goes down to 1 cross chop and 1 vital throw. Next up he sends out his Aerodactyl, which also goes down to 1 vital throw. Next up is his Charizard, which hits me with 1 flamethrower before I take it out with 2 vital throws. Next up he sends out his first of 3 Dragonite, which takes me out with an easy Thunder. I guess it's time to try again. After a few more soft resets, I managed to get past his first Dragonite and onto his second Dragonite. Unfortunately it does paralyze me, which will come into the battle later. Now I almost do take out his second Dragonite here, but unfortunately the paralysis comes back to bite me in the ass and I don't get an extra attack, meaning it takes me out with Hyper Beam. Guess it's time to try again. Now before I battle this again, I get up to level 95 by going through the Elite Four a few more times. And here we are. At level 95 I managed to get up to his second Dragonite without taking any damage. I do unfortunately get paralyzed though. His second Dragonite goes down to 2 cross chops and I'm onto his final Dragonite. Now to start off the battle, Lance's final Dragonite uses Outrage and I thought this was over because Outrage is such a powerful move. He uses it once, I hit him. He uses it again, I hit him. But then I get super lucky with the third one and he gets confused and I managed to take him out. For some reason it decided to use Safeguard on the turn that I killed it, which is, I don't know, stupid dumb. The AI in this game is really stupid, but I don't really care. It means I've beaten the champion of the Elite Four. And now with the champion defeated, we have finally beaten Pokemon Crystal with only a Machop. Now this challenge was unbelievably harder than I thought it would be, but you know, it was pretty fun. I haven't really played much with Machop before, and I haven't played Pokemon Crystal in a long time. So yeah, it was pretty fun. Now I know I'm probably going to get a lot of comments saying, why didn't you fight Red and stuff like that. Well, I don't think I'd be able to beat him, but even if I could, I really haven't got the time because it's about to be Christmas break and I'm about to leave on holiday. But if you guys do want to see me try and challenge Red, leave it in the comments and I will upload another video where I do challenge Red with this Machop. Now if you guys enjoyed the video, I don't mean to pester, but please leave a like on the video because it shows me you guys enjoyed it. And also if you can, leave a comment. Now if you want to subscribe to the channel, there should be a little thing in the bottom left corner you can click on that'll subscribe you to the channel, and the bottom right there'll be a playlist if you want to watch more of these videos. And this will be the last video I upload like this for the rest of the year because I'm going on vacation in a few days. But yeah, I want to wish you all Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye for now.